There is one thing you are doing to your lawn every single week that is keeping it permanently thin. Not the fertilizer, not the watering schedule, not the grass seed. The one thing you do more consistently than anything else in your entire lawn care routine. The thing that feels the most harmless, the most routine, the most impossible to get wrong. The way you mow, specifically the pattern you mow in. The direction you push or drive the mower, the path you repeat week after week, season after season, on the same lines, in the same direction, across the same ground. That pattern, the one you settled into the first time you mowed this lawn and have never thought about since, is doing three things to your grass that no fertilizer program, no irrigation schedule, and no overseeding application can fully overcome as long as the pattern continues. It is compacting your soil in directional lines. It is training your grass to lean permanently in one direction rather than growing upright. And it is preventing the lateral spread and tillering, the production of new shoots from the base of existing plants. That is the only biological mechanism by which grass actually increases in density. I am going to show you exactly what mowing pattern does to a grass plant at the cellular level, the specific rotation system that professional turf managers use to reverse all three effects simultaneously, and why switching your mowing pattern this weekend will produce a visible difference in turf density within 6 weeks without buying a single product. Stay with me. Before we get into the pattern, you need to understand why nobody in the lawn care retail industry has ever told you that mowing direction matters. The answer is simple. There is nothing to sell you. Mowing pattern is a behavior change. It costs nothing. It requires no product, no equipment upgrade, no seasonal purchase. It is pure technique, the kind of knowledge that, once you have it, permanently improves your results without ever sending you back to the store. That makes it exactly the kind of information the retail lawn care market has no financial incentive to distribute. What the retail market does have an incentive to sell you is the solution to the problem that wrong mowing pattern creates. Thin turf, the direct result of repetitive unidirectional mowing, is the single most common trigger for supplemental grass seed purchases in the residential market. Americans spend approximately $350 million annually on overseeding products, lawn patch kits, and bare area repair mixes. A significant portion of that spend goes toward lawns that are thin, not because the grass plants died, but because the mowing pattern prevented them from ever reaching their density potential in the first place. You are buying seed to fill in a lawn that already has enough grass plants to be dense, if the mowing pattern allowed them to tiller and spread the way they are biologically designed to. The grass is not failing. The pattern is failing the grass. The relationship between mowing direction and turf density has been understood by professional groundskeepers for well over a century. The striped patterns you see on Major League Baseball outfields, on NFL playing surfaces, on the fairways of Augusta National, those patterns are not decorative. They were not invented for aesthetics. They are the visible record of a deliberate mowing rotation system developed by professional turf managers in the early 20th century specifically to maximize turf density, surface uniformity, and grass plant health across high-traffic surfaces that could not afford to be thin. A 1924 groundskeeping manual published by the Sports Turf Research Institute in Bingley, England, an organization that has been publishing turfgrass science since 1929 and whose research has informed professional turf management across the United Kingdom and North America for nearly a century, describes directional mowing rotation as a foundational practice of professional turf management. The manual states plainly that grass mowed repeatedly in the same direction develops a permanent lean, reduced upright growth habit and measurably lower shoot density than grass mowed in alternating directions on a rotating schedule. That manual was written in 1924. The science behind it has been confirmed, refined, and expanded by university turfgrass research programs in the 100 years since. It has never made it into a bag of grass seed or onto a fertilizer label because it does not move product. The Augusta National Grounds crew, managing what is arguably the most scrutinized and photographed turf surface in the world, rotates mowing direction on their fairways on a strict weekly schedule. Not for the stripes, for the grass. The stripes are the byproduct of a density management system that has been running continuously since the course opened in 1933. 90 years of documented professional practice. Zero presence in residential lawn care marketing. Here is exactly what happens to a grass plant when you mow it in the same direction every week, at the biological level. Every time a mower passes over a grass plant, two things happen simultaneously. The blade removes leaf tissue from the top of the plant, the defoliation event that the grass must recover from. And the mower wheels, deck, and the physical pressure of the mowing pass compress the soil surface along the mowing line and push the grass plant in the direction of travel. The first time this happens, the effect on the plant is minimal. The grass recovers, regrows, and resumes its upright growth habit within a few days. But when the same directional pressure is applied repeatedly, every week in the same direction, along the same lines, the grass plant begins to adapt, not toward health, toward survival in a specific directional stress environment. The crown of the grass plant, the growing point at the base of the blade, at or just below the soil surface, begins to orient its new tiller production in the direction away from the recurring pressure. The plant leans. The lean becomes structural over time. New shoots emerge at an angle rather than vertically. The canopy, instead of growing upright and interlocking with neighboring plants to create a dense mat, grows directionally, all in the same direction, leaving gaps between plants that weeds find immediately. This is called grain in professional turf management. Golf course superintendents spend considerable time and effort managing grain on putting greens because it affects ball roll. On a residential lawn, grain manifests as a thin, matted appearance. Grass that looks flat rather than upright, sparse rather than dense, and that shows footprints and track marks more readily than healthy turf. The soil compaction component compounds the problem. Mower wheels running on the same lines week after week create directional compaction channels in the top inch of soil. Exactly the zone where tiller emergence and lateral spread occur. Compacted soil in the tiller zone physically restricts the lateral spread of grass plants. The stolons and rhizomes, the horizontal stems through which grass species like Kentucky bluegrass, Bermuda grass, and tall fescue spread to fill bare areas, cannot penetrate compacted soil effectively. The grass plants stay where they are. They do not spread. The lawn does not thicken. Research from Penn State University's Center for Sports Surface Research, published in the International Turfgrass Society Research Journal, documented average tiller density increases of 34 to 47% in cool season turf plots managed under alternating directional mowing rotation compared to plots mowed in fixed unidirectional patterns over a single growing season. 34 to 47% more tillers. More tillers means more shoots. More shoots means more density. More density means fewer weeds, better color, better drought resistance, and better recovery from stress. 34 to 47% from a pattern change. No product, no additional cost. There is a second biological mechanism at work here that most homeowners never hear about, because it operates at a scale that is invisible to the naked eye but produces effects that are entirely visible in the turf canopy. Grass plants exposed to consistent unidirectional mowing develop what turfgrass scientists call directional phototropism bias, a preferential orientation of leaf growth toward the light source from which the plant receives the most unobstructed solar radiation after the mowing pass. In a lawn mowed consistently north to south, the grass plants on the west side of each mowing stripe receive more direct afternoon sunlight exposure on their eastern face, the face oriented toward the open channel created by the mower pass. Over time, the leaf tissue on those faces develops more chlorophyll density than the shaded faces. The plant's photosynthetic capacity becomes directionally uneven. The overall energy budget of the plant, the carbohydrate production that fuels tiller formation and root growth, is reduced compared to a plant receiving balanced solar exposure from upright, non-directionally biased leaf tissue. This sounds technical. The result is simple. A grass plant with directional lean photosynthesizes less efficiently than one growing upright. Less photosynthesis means less carbohydrate production. Less carbohydrate production means less energy available for tillering and root growth. The lawn stays thin at the biological level because the mowing pattern is reducing the plant's energy budget at the cellular level. Alternating the mowing direction corrects this by periodically straightening the lean, restoring upright growth habit, and rebalancing the solar exposure of the leaf tissue. The plant's photosynthetic efficiency recovers. The carbohydrate budget available for tiller production increases. The lawn begins to thicken from the inside out. Now here is the mowing rotation system that produces maximum density benefit, the same rotational logic used on professional sports turf surfaces adapted for residential use. The system is called a four-direction rotation. It requires no new equipment, no additional time, and no products of any kind. It requires only that you change the direction you mow each week on a 4-week rotating schedule. Week 1, mow north to south, straight parallel lines running the full length of your lawn from one end to the other. Week 2, mow east to west, perpendicular to your week 1 lines. This is the single most important change in the rotation. The perpendicular pass directly counteracts the directional lean and soil compaction channels created in week 1 before they have time to become structural. Week 3, mow diagonally, northwest to southeast, at 45 degrees to your week 1 and week 2 lines. Week 4, mow diagonally in the opposite direction, northeast to southwest, at 45 degrees in the other direction. Then repeat. Week 5 is north to south again. The cycle continues throughout the growing season. This 4-direction rotation accomplishes several things simultaneously. It prevents directional grain from developing because no single mowing direction is repeated within a 3-week window, not long enough for the structural lean to establish. It distributes wheel compaction across 4 different line orientations, preventing the formation of permanent compaction channels in any single direction. And it ensures that every grass plant in the lawn receives periodic straightening passes from all 4 compass orientations, maintaining upright growth habit and balanced solar exposure throughout the season. The diagonal passes, weeks 3 and 4, are particularly important and are the element most absent from residential mowing practice. The diagonal pass crosses both the north-south and east-west compaction lines at an angle, breaking up directional compaction patterns more effectively than a purely perpendicular pass. On sports turf surfaces, diagonal passes are used specifically to manage high-traffic compaction zones. The same principle applies to a residential lawn, where the same wheel lines have been running for years. There are 3 additional mowing practices that work with the rotation system to maximize its density benefit. First, never mow wet grass. Wet grass blades fold under the mower deck rather than cutting cleanly, producing torn tissue that is significantly more susceptible to fungal infection than cleanly cut tissue. Wet soil under the mower wheels compacts more severely and more permanently than dry soil. If the lawn is wet, wait. The rotation can shift by a day without losing its benefit. Second, keep your mower blade sharp. A dull blade tears grass tissue rather than cutting it. Torn tissue has a larger wound surface area than a clean cut, loses more moisture, and takes significantly longer to seal and recover. Research from the University of Wisconsin's turf grass program found that turf mowed with a dull blade showed measurably higher rates of fungal infection at the cut surface compared to turf mowed with a sharp blade under identical conditions. Sharpen or replace your mower blade at least once per season, twice per season if you are mowing more than a 1/4 acre. Third, raise your mowing height by 1/2 inch from wherever it currently is. The relationship between mowing height and turf density is one of the most thoroughly documented findings in turf grass science. Grass mowed at the higher end of its recommended range consistently produces deeper root systems, more tiller production, and better canopy density than the same variety mowed at the lower end. For cool season grasses, Kentucky bluegrass, tall fescue, fine fescue, perennial ryegrass, the correct height range is 3 to 4 inches. For warm season grasses, Bermuda grass, zoysia, St. Augustine, centipede, 1.5 to 2.5 inches depending on variety. If your mower deck is currently set below these ranges, raising it 1/2 inch this weekend will produce a visible improvement in density within 3 to 4 weeks, independent of any other change. Combined with the 4-direction rotation, the density improvement compounds, you are simultaneously increasing the energy budget available for tiller production by raising the height and maximizing the tiller production the plant directs that energy toward by rotating the mowing direction. The 2 practices work on the same biological outcome from 2 different angles. The average American homeowner spends between $50 and $150 per year on overseeding products attempting to thicken a lawn that remains stubbornly sparse. Many spend considerably more. Premium turf-type tall fescue seed from a reputable supplier runs $4 to $6 per pound, and a full overseeding application on a 1/4 acre lawn requires 8 to 10 pounds of seed at renovation rates. Overseeding into a lawn managed under a fixed, unidirectional mowing pattern produces limited results because the compaction and grain conditions that prevented the existing grass from tillering and spreading also limit the establishment of new seedlings. The new seed germinates. The seedlings encounter the same compacted, directionally biased environment as the existing plants. Many fail to establish. The ones that survive thin out by the following summer. The 4-direction rotation costs nothing. Applied consistently through one growing season, 26 mowing events if you mow weekly, it produces a turf canopy that is measurably denser, more upright, and more capable of outcompeting weeds than the same lawn managed under a fixed pattern. If you are going to overseed, and in many cases overseeding is still warranted, the correct sequence is switch to the rotation first, aerate in fall to relieve the compaction the fixed pattern created, then overseed into the aerated rotation-managed surface. In that sequence, the new seed establishes into soil conditions that actually support density development. The investment in seed produces a return. Without the rotation and aeration, you are seeding into the same environment that kept the lawn thin in the first place. The rotation is free. The result it produces is what the $150 bag of seed was trying to buy. This weekend when you mow, turn 90 degrees from your usual direction. That is the entire first step. One perpendicular pass. Come back in 6 weeks and look at the difference in how the canopy sits, how upright the blades are, how the light catches the surface differently, how the thin areas begin to fill from the edges inward. Drop your grass type and your current mowing pattern in the comments. Tell me how long you have been mowing the same direction and what your turf density looks like right now. I want to document what fixed pattern mowing has actually done to residential lawns across the country and what the rotation does to reverse it. If this gave you something real, a mechanism, a rotation, a reason the lawn has stayed thin despite everything else you have tried, hit the like button. Share it with someone who has been overseeding the same thin lawn for years and not understanding why it never thickens. They are not buying the wrong seed. They are mowing the wrong pattern. Subscribe for more of what the bag of seed was never going to put on its label. I'll see you in the next one.